To make coils out of clay, you need to start with a small lump of clay. So if you are starting with a large piece, break off a piece that can fit into the palm of your hand and start squeezing it out into kind of a hot dog shape. Once your clay is squeezed out into a hot dog shape, you are going to start rolling it on the table or on a board. You are going to go back and forth using your entire hand and moving back and forth along the clay so that you can roll out an even coil. Think about rolling a snake with Play-Doh. We're basically doing the same thing. If it's not rolling out very well, you might need to reshape it a little bit, or you might need to change how hard you're pressing when you're rolling. You may need to press a little harder on the clay while you roll, or you may need to press less on the clay while you roll. Your coil is done when it is about the size of your thumb. You want your coil to be about as thick as your thumb. If it's too thin, it will break easily, and if it's too thick, it will be hard to move around and work with. So measure it against your thumb or your finger, and then you have your finished coil. Next, we will practice making different types of coils. So once you have your coil rolled out, you are going to start shaping it into the different types of coils. So the first kind is just the straight coil. I can just pinch that off from the first one I rolled. Then I am going to do the U or the arch coil and shape that out and pinch it and shape it into my worksheet space. Next, I'm going to do my spiral coil. So I am going to wrap my coil around itself to make a spiral that looks like a snail shell. Now my coil wasn't quite long enough to do the whole spiral on the paper, but that's okay. You don't necessarily need to fill the whole shape on the paper. Just try to recreate the shape in some way with your coil. I'm rolling out more coils to start filling in the other shapes, watching how the coils on the paper bend or twist in on themselves. Make sure you are paying attention to what the coils look like on the page, and you can break off and measure your clay out to match the shapes of the coils and practice making all these different types of coils. After you show your teacher your finished coil practice, you will flip over your sheet to the coil experiment side. You can use your coils to spell out words, make pictures, or do different patterns with your shapes. I'm starting out with the same coil shapes I had on my practice side and just making some different patterns and designs with those, but it's also good to practice spelling out words. Coils are perfect for making letters, so I am just kind of altering the coils I had already made and using them to spell out my last name, Kushwa. You can practice spelling out words, making letters, or making pictures and patterns on the back to get ideas for the kind of coil designs you might want to use in the next step of our project.